Warning. The following fanfic reading is for mature audiences only. It contains mature subjects such as grief, death of loved ones, discrimination, alcoholism, and gore. Viewers' discretion is advised. The Legend of Spike, Discord's Mask. Written by DiabloGuapo. Chapter 18. 48 hours remaining. Dawn of the second day. 48 hours remaining. Applejack and Granny Smith stared at the two sheets that were laid across the table in the kitchen. The sheets with the eye holes cut into them were proof that Applebloom's story was at least partially true. Though they weren't ghosts, as she had previously claimed, some pony was trying to steal the apples in the barrels of cider. Applejack was both outraged and ashamed at the same time. She had worked so hard to prepare for the wedding and the summer sun celebration, and two thieves were about to ruin all of her hard work. Yet, she hadn't listened to her younger sister's warnings, and that made her feel awful.
Applebloom, I'm so sorry for not believing you.
It's okay, sis. At least Spike and I were able to chase off those thieving varmints.
How can we ever repay you?
I'm just happy that I could help.
Do y'all think that they'll be back?
I think we've seen the last of those no-good swindlers. They'll think twice before they show their faces around these parts again.
Even so,
Applejack interjected and turned to Spike.
I'm heading to town this evening to set up for the wedding. I'd feel better if some pony came with me to help protect the barrels of cider.
I'll do it!
I appreciate it, little sis. But you need to stay here with Granny in case they do come back.
But,
She's right, young'un. You're needed here. Otherwise, I get lonely.
Alright.
So, Spike, how about it?
What time are you leaving?
At 6 in the evening.
I have a few errands to run, but I'll do my best to be here.
The dragon left the farm and ran down the road. The Flim Flam Brothers stand was no longer on the side of the road.
At least they're gone. They won't have to...
Spike, are you okay?
His counterpart asked, but the unicorn spirit's voice sounded distant. Spike's vision started to go blurry.
You will watch as they, one by one, grow older and older, while you remain young.
A new voice echoed in his head.
What?
Spike mumbled as he tried to recognize the voice.
You will watch as each and every one of them will die and turn to dust before your very eyes.
He had heard these words before.
You will spend the rest of your centuries-long life all alone, friendless, miserable, and hated by all.
The clock tower.
Spike thought as he started to remember.
After millenniums have passed, you will wish that you have never been hatched and raised by ponies.
The element of honesty.
He could see the mirage Applejack.
You will envy the other dragons with their solitary lives, only caring for their whores.
The test.
He could see his mirror image taunting him.
You will wish that you were one of them.
This is what I heard in the test.
At least then you would be spared the heartache that comes with being a dragon that perceives time as a pony.
Why am I seeing this again?
Spike!
He heard a voice calling to him.
Snap out of it!
Spike gasped and realized that he was standing in the middle of the road, spacing out. The voice of the other Spike brought him back to the world.
Are you okay?
Maybe you need to sleep for a while.
No. We go back to Clocktown.
Spike said as he pulled out the flask and took a small sip of the blue potion. He could feel a surge of energy in his body and continued to run.
We gotta make it back in time to follow the mailmare.
As the young dragon made his way to Clocktown, he thought about the memory that he had just experienced. He remembered the sorrow that came with the test of honesty. No matter how he looked at it, he couldn't change the truth. In the end, he will end up alone. It was raining when he had made it back to the city. He looked up at the clock tower and saw it was almost 9 in the morning. He made his way to the western part of town where the post office was located. As soon as the clock struck 9, a gray Pegasus exited the building.
Very punctual. Follow her, but not too closely. We don't want her to think that we're stalking her.
Isn't that what we're doing?
Enough of that, and follow that mare.
Spike kept his distance, but never lost track of the wall-eyed mailmare. He followed as she trekked across Clocktown. Her route took her all around the town. First, she went through the northern part of town. After collecting the mail from the boxes, she headed to the eastern part of town. Spike watched intently as she stopped by the mailbox by the inn. He saw her take out the letter that Princess Cadence had written to Shining Armor and placed it in her bag. Now it was only a matter of time before she delivered it, and then Spike could talk to the missing groom. Spike continued to follow the mailmare to the central part of town and then back to the western part. It was noon, and the mare stopped back in her office for lunch and to sort the mail. He would have to wait until the afternoon before she did her delivery route.
I hope we find him soon. Remember, we still have to make it back to the farm before 6.
Yep.
Spike heard them, but didn't have the strength to respond. Once again, their voices sounded distant.
She rejected me. She doesn't love me.
A memory echoed in his head. Spike flashed back to the day that started it all. Rarity rejected him in favor of a pony she didn't know. Why him? What was so special about Count High and Mighty? What did he have that Spike didn't?
Hey! She's leaving!
Spike shook his head and realized that he was spacing out again. He took another sip of potion and followed the mailmare as she made her run.
Spike, I'm starting to worry about you.
I'm fine.
Spike flatly stated as he watched the mare give various ponies their mail, but didn't see the letter yet.
Are you sure?
I said I'm fine.
The others didn't press the issue, but they could tell something was wrong. Eventually, Spike followed the gray Pegasus to the laundry pool. He watched as she headed to an alleyway that led behind the stores of Western Clocktown. The dragon hid behind a corner and watched as the mare knocked on a back door of one of the stores. A white colt wearing a fox mask answered the door, and Spike recognized the colt's kitty mark. It was a shield with a magenta star.
It's him!
But he's just a colt. How could he be the pony we're looking for?
The shining armor we're looking for is a stallion. All I see is a foal.
Trust me, I'd recognize that cutie mark anywhere. That's definitely Twilight's brother.
The mailmare left, and the colt went back inside with his letter. After the gray mare was out of sight, Spike came out of his hiding place and went to the door. He knocked on the door, and after a few moments, it opened. The masked colt stood in the doorway and looked at Spike.
Purple scales? Green spines? Cadence wrote about you in her letter. It seems you're looking for shining armor. Can you keep a secret?
Yes.
Cadence trusted you. I guess I can trust you too.
The cult said as he reached for the mask. When he took it off, Spike saw the face of Shining Armor that he remembered from when he was a baby.
I am Shining Armor.
What happened to you?
Spike asked, regarding the captain's youthful appearance.
I was turned into this by a dark alicorn wearing a strange mask. But I'm not hiding because I look this way.
I guess that makes you another victim of Nightmare Moon's curse.
Shining Armor nodded and continued.
When I was turned into this, I went to see Princess Celestia. But on the way, the wedding rings were stolen from me by a griffin. If I was an adult, no one would have tried to do this to me. But I was targeted because of what I was turned into.
I'm very sorry that this happened to you just before your wedding.
I know that Cadence is worried, and that I said that I wanted to meet with her, but I can't go out yet. I had to get those rings back. Here.
He pulled out a medal with his family's crest on it and gave it to Spike.
This was my uncle's. I was going to wear it during the wedding. Give it to Cadence and tell her that I still want to get married. Tell her I'll be back before the wedding.
You got it,
Spike said as he took the pendant.
Things that get stolen in this town always makes their way to the shop. I know, I've led raids on it many times. I promised the owner that I'll go easy on him if he helps me out. I'm waiting for that griffin to show up.
Alright, I'll give this to Cadence.
Keep what we just talked about a secret from every pony.
Shining Armor said as the dragon left. Spike ran across town to the inn. He headed upstairs and knocked on Princess Cadence's door. The pink alicorn opened the door and saw Spike standing there. Oh, did you meet him? Spike pulled out the medal and handed it to the princess. She gasped and took the medal in her hooves. Ah! This is his.
He said that he still wants to get married and that he'll be back in time for the wedding. He has to finish some last-minute business first. But don't worry, he's got it covered.
Okay, she said with a little uncertainty, but then strengthened her conviction. I believe in him. I will wait for him. Thank you. Thank you very much. She gave him a hug and Spike smiled a bit. He then noticed it was getting late in the afternoon and remembered his promise to Applejack. He hurried back to Sweet Apple Acres and was relieved to see that Applejack hadn't left yet. She was loading up the last few barrels of cider on a cart when she spotted Spike running up to her.
Well, howdy there, Spike. You're just in time.
Hey, I'm a dragon of my word.
Well, come along and hop on,
she said, motioning to the cart as she hitched herself to it.
It's time to haul these to town.
Spike hopped on the cart, and Applejack started to pull the cart.
This is nice. Now I won't be so lonely as I deliver the cider. I welcome your company.
It's my pleasure.
The cart headed out the farm and onto the road that will lead them back to Clocktown. Spike found it ironic that he ran from the city just to get back to it.
I guess it's been a while since our folks died. I've been trying to take care of the farm, but with my brother living up north and Granny getting older, things haven't been easy. I guess with the Flim Flam brothers stealing our apples and cider, things were harder than they should be. At least now I know why we always seem to barely scrape by each year. Thieving varmints. I should have listened to Apple Bloom. She was right all along.
Stop kicking yourself for that. You can't change what happened. All you can do is try to do better.
Where do you like to be with that Count High and Mighty? She even told you the reason why she couldn't be with you. It's hopeless. You have lost her.
Spike shook his head to clear it and took another sip of blue potion.
I guess you're right.
Applejack responded, and then looked up to the moon.
What do you think is gonna happen? Sure hope it doesn't fall.
Not if I can help it.
What in tarnation?
Applejack exclaimed as she came to a stop. In front of them were a dozen fallen trees and a sign marked Detour, headed down a suspicious-looking trail.
Spike, I got a bad feeling about this. Get ready.
She headed down the detour, eyeing the sides of the path for any sign of trouble.
First there was one tree and now there's a dozen. I'm gonna get us through here as fast as I can. Keep a lookout for those two rascals. They're probably behind this. Can I count on you?
Of course! Let's do this!
Yeah!
Applejack reared back onto her hind legs and then sprinted forward. The Earth Pony raced down the trail, and Spike held on to the cart to balance himself. He looked all around, but did not see anything. Then he heard a noise. It sounded like a roar of a motor. Spike heard something crashing through the forest, and a large vehicle burst through the trees behind the cart. It was the super speedy Cider Squeezy 6000, and it was racing towards them. Applejack didn't dare to look back, but Spike could see the Flim Flam brothers sitting behind the wheel on the contraption. The two unicorns were wearing thin, black masks across their faces, not really hiding their identities that well. Pistons rose up and down, and gears cranked as smoke rose from pipes on the machine as it gained on the cider cart. A large nozzle came from the machine and reached for the cart. Spike could feel the suction coming from the oversized hose, and the barrels of cider began to rattle against their restraints. If he doesn't do something soon, they'll break free and be sucked up by the machine.
Applejack, no matter what, don't stop running!
Spike shouted over the roar of the vacuum.
What are you planning?
She asked, concerned that the dragon was about to do something foolish.
No time to argue, just run!
He turned back to the machine and jumped. He landed on the driver's seat between the two brothers. The thieves looked down in surprise and confusion. Spike shot a small flicker of flame at Flim's flank, and the stallion leaped up in his seat, trying to extinguish his smoking rump. Spike reached down and slammed on the brakes. The brakes squealed, and Flam grabbed the wheel in an attempt to control the swerving vehicle. The vehicle went off the trail and crashed into a large tree, wrecking the super speedy Cider Squeezy 6000. The crash left the two brothers disoriented and dazed. Flam stumbled out of the wrecked machine and was followed by Flim. They held a hoof to their heads, trying to steady themselves. They then saw the remains of their prized machine and were filled with anger.
Ooh, that little dragon! If I ever get my hooves on that little...
The olive stallion was silenced by a buck to the head, knocking him senseless. Flam looked over to his brother, but then a large hoof grabbed him by his bow tie. The mustached brother looked up and saw the angry face of Big Macintosh. Flam nervously gulped as the large red earth pony scowled down at him.
Nope.
Spike growled and then proceeded to beat the thief. After a sound beating, the Flim Flam brothers ran like little fillies out of the forest.
Uncle!
Don't let me catch y'all two showing your faces around here again.
Spike changed back into a dragon and ran down the path to meet up with Applejack. Before he could reach the main road, he saw the orange pony running up to him.
Spike, are you alright? I heard a crash.
I'm fine. Really, I'm okay.
What happened to the Flim Flam brothers?
They ran off. I don't think they'll be coming back.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
She hitched herself back to the cart, and Spike hopped back on. The Earth Pony pulled the cart down the road. They left the forest and headed to the gates of Clocktown. Spike helped Applejack to unload the barrels of cider and other wedding preparations in a room that she rented out.
Looks like you're all set to start baking for the wedding.
Well, I'm glad we were able to make it here safe and sound.
The mayor walked over to the dragon and gave him a thankful smile.
Thank you, Sugar Cube. I wouldn't have made it without your help.
She looked a little bashful, but continued.
I know this is a lot, but...
She wrapped her forelegs around his neck and pulled the young dragon into an affectionate hug. She held him there against her chest for a good amount of time. When she had released the dragon, his ear frills were glowing red. A grin was spread across his flushed face, and he felt all warm and fuzzy inside. With all the affection he's been receiving recently, Spike figured that he could get used to it.
I know it isn't much, but I wanted to thank you for all that you've done. Not just for me, but for Apple Bloom too.
I'm just happy that I could help.
The two stood there awkwardly until Applejack spoke again.
Well, it's getting late. I gotta get some sleep before I start cooking tomorrow. Then I'll head home tomorrow afternoon.
You're not sticking around for the wedding?
I am. I'll head back here on the morning of the wedding with the others. Well, I guess I'll see you around.
Yeah, see you around.
Spike headed out the room and took another sip of blue potion. He only had one more day, and he still hadn't found the element of magic yet. And my $10 patron is Blue Bolt. Thank you so much for supporting me and donating $10 a month to my Patreon.
Oof. Well, that's what I get for constantly breathing in air, not exhaling. Okay, back to it.
Enough of that, and follow that mare. Follow that mare. She got a nice sway to the back of her. Know what I mean? Yep.
I was turned into this. Fuck. Yes, I turned into a fuck. Like a little fuck. Yeah, I turned into a little fuck. Like, why am I, like, just what the fuck, you know? I was turned into this by a dark and sexy alicorn. Okay, that's just me. I said not my moon is waifu. So, yeah. Because I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. I wanna know why
I never wanna hear you say I want it that way.